welcome to Bestie Hotline.
Bring.
I'm Kate Reeves.
And I'm Gemma Peanut.
And we are sitting under the cool shade of the lemonade tree about to pluck a juicy lemon for squeezing.
Revsy.
Yes.
I'm excited.
Why?
Because school holidays
Yes.
are upon us. Now, a lot of people melt down over
yes.
the
I
idea
was
of
like, why are you excited?
Well, because this is the first year that we have fully committed.
Yes, I know, but Chummy, you don't make friends with salad.
Okay.
I know what you were about to say. She
All
was
right.
about to say, Deals, we are not working school holidays.
We're not.
We're trying to be good mum, rising, and take school holidays off. You will still get your episodes, don't worry. We've organised that.
We will be juggling all of the children.
Yes.
But we're relieving Revsy mostly from the patchwork school holiday program situation nightmare.
No camps.
No camps.
Yeah.
You're going to hang out with the children.
The children.
Oh, how fabulous.
I know. But listen, it feels like a humble brag.
Okay, I'll stop. I'll
Okay.
stop. Yeah, no, that's fair.
Don't
Thank
make
you.
friends with salad.
I didn't have my self-awareness beacon on, okay? I've switched her on.
She's on.
She's on.
Let's solve some problems.
Let's. It's a write-in.
Oh.
I know. That was a slight disappointed
I
out.
tried to sell it
I
as I was
know.
happy, but I want to hear your voices.
I know, it's true. But you know what? I'll do a dramatic reading. Here we
Please
go. Hi, besties. I have a dilemma and I hope you can help me out. We live in a neighborhood of about 150 homes that has a playground that is used pretty much exclusively by the neighborhood.
Great.
Our home is a 2-minute walk from here, and my kids, who are 9 and 6, love to go down and play. I have yet to let them go on their own for various reasons, so I am always there to supervise. There are many families that are comfortable with letting their kids wander down to play on their own, which is their choice, and I think it's great to build their independence. However, as of late, there is an 8-year-old child exhibiting bullying behavior at the playground, and he can be physically aggressive and verbally rude. This is the main number one issue. I have no problem speaking with him, telling him to stop if he does something to my children and making sure my own kids steer clear, but I sometimes have to be playground mother for the entire neighborhood. The other children who come alone are bullied by him, and then I intervene if there is an obvious safety issue. When this happens, I also hate to leave the playground and leave these children alone at the park, not knowing what could happen. They are not my responsibility, I know this, and I don't necessarily know their parents, but what is my role here? Should I feel okay leaving unsupervised kids knowing that they are being bullied? Am I responsible for finding the parents and telling them what's going on? Help! I just want to let my kids play without getting dragged into the playground drama.
Ooh, unelected official. Neighborhood watch.
Yeah, that's a tough one.
You can't completely wash your hands of it. You can't, because you're a parent and it's your community, it's your neighborhood. You can't be like, not my circus, not my monkeys on this one.
And you can't unknow what you know.
Yeah.
What do you do?
Well, but what are the comms? What are the options?
Yeah.
You know, like, do you know this bully's parent or the other parents? Like, is there a group chat? Oh, you can't hang this 8-year-old out to dry in a group chat either.
No, definitely can't.
Yeesh.
My instinct would be to seek out the parents of the bullied kids.
Okay.
I feel like that's an easier conversation to be like, hey, I notice your kid comes down to the playground on their own. Good for them. Support the independence and all that jazz. However, just letting you know, this is what I've witnessed on repeat with your child. There's one particular kid that's a little bit savage, to your child. They're a bit of a victim in this circumstance. Just flagging it. What do you think?
Yeah, that sounds great.
Yeah. Rather than sniffing out the bully's parent.
Yeah.
That's a harder conversation,
It
don't you
is.
reckon? To be like, hey, your kid's being a dick to multiple kids.
Yeah.
And I'm on neighborhood watch and I don't want to be. I want to unsubscribe.
Oh, yeah. This is where you find yourself with accidental epic responsibility that you just don't want anymore. You want to abdicate. I
Yeah.
really feel for her. I don't know. This is really tricky.
It is.
I guess because if other parents are like, they probably think they've won the neighborhood lottery. Like, yeah, skip on down to the park, go play with your friends. I don't know. Can we give the kids a little more credit that maybe they're skipping home when it's dinner time and being like, that kid was there. Brian was there again.
Yeah.
And he's awful. And the parents are like, oh, what's going on? Oh, well, and then maybe there's a bit of a resilience build for them.
Yeah.
Physically violent though.
No,
you do
not
have
okay.
to step in there.
You do. Question. Do you think 8 is too young? Do you have an opinion around this? And what is the magical age?
I really think it's dependent on so many factors.
Yeah.
Where do you live?
Totally.
Is it a cul-de-sac, footpath situation, or do we have to cross main roads? Are there pedestrian crossings? Are there not? Do you know?
Okay, well,
is there an older sibling, or are you the elder sibling? Do you have to look after a younger sibling? Like, it's just, it's so like my.
Okay, well, let's take Teddy, who's basically 8.
in a minute. Yeah.
Is there a local playground or corner shop that you would comfortably be like, off you go, mate?
Yes, but not on his own. He goes with his sister.
Okay.
But when Isla was 8, I wouldn't have let her take 6-year-old Teddy.
No, but would you have let Isla go on her own?
At 8?
Yes.
No.
Okay, interesting.
No, but not where we live.
Yeah.
We live in Sydney.
Yeah.
In a busy, densely populated area.
No, you're right. It really
with
is
a lot
dependent.
of tourists. Do you know what I mean? No. But if I lived in a sleepier town where I knew everyone and I knew the route and they could run into anyone's house if they needed help, or, if the situation was different, I would have a different opinion.
Okay, I feel a little bit naive. My brain is not fully understanding numbers. So our DL says 150 homes in this neighborhood. That is small? Do you see what I mean? Like, I'm like if someone was like, how
It's
many,
small compared to where we
homes in your
live.
neighborhood? Yeah.
Thousands.
Yeah. In a suburb?
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah.
See, I'm like, is there 800 or is there thousands?
Well, if you think about the numbers on a street.
Yeah, okay.
Yeah,
true.
Yeah, it's
Okay,
quite
so
small.
150 is very intimate.
Yeah.
Okay, well,
we got there.
we got there. I just needed to hash it out,
Yeah.
because I wasn't sure. My brain was glitching.
Yeah.
But in that instance, I would definitely try and sneak out the other parents.
Yeah.
I would.
Yeah.
Of the kids.
I guess as well, there's a few other details I want to know. Like, are they new to the community? 6 and 8 still pretty young. Are they just joining this playground vibe? Because maybe there is an understanding amongst the group of like, nah, it's good for them. We let them, work it out in kid court.
And you know what? I would be okay with that if I spoke to a parent and their vibe was, it's fine.
It's what we do here.
Totally.
Yeah,
then I
yeah.
would be like, all right, I've done my part.
Yeah.
I've eased my feelings around it of feeling like the responsible one. If that's the parent's response, then I'll let it be.
I think you're kind of between a rock and a hard place
It's
here,
a tricky
DL,
position to be
because
in.
you're not like, you can't say, well, you know what, you should stop going, like, so
No.
you don't have to do the job. Like, if you're going to watch your kids and be there for them and supervise, which sounds completely age appropriate for a 8 and 6-year-old, I think this is kind of the role you're in until your kids are a bit older or until another set of parents rock along,
Totally.
I don't really know the solve, because just say you were in this community and you have this setup where you let your kids roll on down to the park and roll on home. How are you going to receive a message from a parent who goes?
Oh, I wouldn't text. I'd wait for a face
Door knock?
Not door knock, but small community, as
Yeah.
we've now discerned.
Yeah.
150 homes.
Yeah.
Chances are you're running into each other at some point.
Yeah.
I might take that opportunity
Right.
to have a conversation face to face.
Yeah.
I feel like text is risky.
Yeah, because you can only really receive that as, okay,
oh,
you're
they-
always there and I'm not there.
Yeah,
Like, it's
totally.
hard to
No,
not
it
get
is.
defensive
Yeah,
and be
yeah.
like, okay, perfect, mum.
Yeah, whereas face to face, you can be like, totally get it. Like when my kids at that age, both of them, they can come on their own. You can kind of pad
Yeah.
it with all the niceties before you come in for the kill.
Yeah, but I do think, and it's one of the lovely things and why a lot of DLs are moving more rurally or more inland or, away from the capital cities. I'm not going to get geographical about it. To have that slower life, to have that so their kids can have more independence
Yeah.
and build that resilience and have that childhood that is kind of gone now in the major cities, like the childhoods that we had, is for that reason. And I guess one way of reframing it is that those kids who are having that unsupervised time are building resilience. It's not one kid against one kid. That would be more of a like, you've got to say something. If there was one kid targeting one specific other kid or two kids or whatever.
It doesn't sound like it's that
No, it sounds like
scenario.
he's sort of the town menace.
Yeah.
And kids do work that stuff out. Like
Yeah.
having a 10 and an almost 8-year-old myself, they are now at the stage where as a collective, the cohort goes, it's not cool.
It's not cool. Yeah.
We
And
stay
at-
away from her.
And
We
at
stay away
some
from him.
point, Dennis will lose his friends.
He will.
He
No
will.
one's going to play with
Totally.
Barry, Dennis, Brian, whatever
Yeah.
we've called him.
Totally.
Yeah, he's not going to have any friends. And
No.
it will, like, that is a mini society.
Yeah, and I commend the kids for returning
Yeah.
to the playground.
Well, obviously the fact that they are
Yeah.
returning means they're not traumatized.
Totally. We hope.
We hope.
Yeah.
But yeah, I think you're in a really tricky spot, but I think you could try and reframe it. And it's annoying that you're the unelected mayor of the playground.
Yeah.
But also, what are you going to do? Abdicate? No.
No, but you can also have a teaching moment with your own kids.
Yeah.
You're kind of preparing them for maybe when they're 8 and 10 and you do want them to go, that their kids have witnessed what you've witnessed, and you can have that conversation around the dinner table.
Yeah.
And go, hey, you know how Dennis, the menace, was being a
I
right
got it.
menace? Yeah.
But also pour one out for Dennis. Sounds like he's very unsupervised and maybe really needs attention.
Yeah, totally.
You know, sometimes I try and get a bit of empathy for the bully too, because they clearly are having some unfulfilled needs.
Definitely.
Poor
Hurt
Dennis.
people and
That's
all
it.
that.
That's
Totally.
it. Where's Dennis's folks, you know?
100p.
Mm.
Well, we solved nothing,
Nothing.
which is our brand.
I feel like, though, giving a reframe is a half solve.
Okay, we'll
Yeah.
take it.
You've sliced the lemon in half.
Yeah.
One goes back in the fruit bowl to crust over.
Oh,
And
fruit bowl. I wrap in Glad wrap, put in fridge.
Wasteful.
Why?
Chuck it forms its own skin.
Wait, what?
Yeah, lemon will form its own little skin. And
In
then
the fridge?
in the fruit bowl.
In the fruit bowl.
Or the
What,
fridge
and then
if
you
you
just
must.
slice that skanky
a
bit.
sliver.
Sliver with a V, not a TH.
Slice that sliver off.
Yeah.
Bob's your uncle. Go again.
Not a serpent.
Don't need Glad wrap.
Sliver.
Get rid of that landfill.
Now I feel like a terrible person.
So you should.
I've been shamed on the mic. It's time for me to go. Happy Friday, friends.
Happy Friday. Have the best school holidays.
I'm going to go channel my eco warrior and use less Glad wrap.
Best of luck to you all. If you're going away, happy Easter. Have a fun time. Happy Anzac Day.
Have a wonderful time. Yeah. Ahead. And as always, because we don't let you down, DLs. It might be school holidays, but we will be back in your ears bright and early on Tuesday with a reg episode.
See you there.
Bye-bye.